Hi, my name's Professor Gretta Pecl and I'm a climate change ecologist here at the University of Tasmania. We've had some great questions from primary and high school classes about how does climate change affect our Earth and how can we restore the damage that we've already done to it. So people are asking, can climate change be reversed and go back to the way that it was? There's lots of other answers here on the Curious Climate School's website, specifically about how climate change affects the Earth. But really briefly, humans essentially have altered the energy balance of our planet through our activities. So things like burning coal to produce electricity or manufacturing of goods and land clearing, among a whole stack of other processes. These activities produce greenhouse gases that get released into the atmosphere, and then those gases act like a blanket of insulation and keep more warmth and energy in our atmosphere than we would have had otherwise. Those gases that we put into the atmosphere mean that our planet warms, the sea level in the ocean rises, carbon dioxide gets absorbed by the ocean and alters the pH or the acid-base level of the ocean, and ocean currents and wind patterns change as well. These aspects of and processes on our planet have always changed, but it's that rate of change now for different parts of the climate system that is much faster than ever before. So we know that things like warming, sea level rise are happening between 10 to 100 times faster than ever before in the history of our planet. So it's that rate of change that is the real concern regarding climate change. That speed or that rate of these changes doesn't really give enough time for parts of our natural systems or our human systems to adapt properly. We can slow down climate change by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere, but it might be difficult to reverse some of the changes. Changes like where a species has been really affected by warming, for example, might be quite difficult to reverse. But even where a species has been impacted, we might be able to put a lot of targeted research effort into helping that species. To give you an example of that, we've already lost 95% of our giant kelp in Tasmania due to warming waters. But there's a scientist here at IMAS, Dr. Kane Leighton, and he's finding out which individual kelps are more tolerant to high temperatures, growing them in the lab and then replanting those out in the ocean. And so far, it's been really successful. So I think that's a great example of how, with some targeted effort, we might be able to solve some of these challenges of climate change. But of course, it would be much easier if we limited or we reduced climate change in the first place. Now, some versions of the question that we're answering here about climate change and being reversible asked us, how long do we have left for it to be reversible? And the key point to remember there is that it will never be too late to reduce the impacts. Whatever we do to reduce climate change and whenever we do it will help. And in the meantime, whatever we can do to restore our natural systems will make them much more resilient and better able to cope with climate change. Thank you.